Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you. Okorocha hits at northern governors over Amajeris. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Okorocha has given it back to the northern governors over Amajeris. We all know about the issues of Amajeris and how the issue has kept on, reoccurring and occurring. How these children has grossly been neglected, all in the name of some form of education. How these children have been used, abused, and a lot of things that have happened over time. How this system is no longer working, needs to be abolished, but yet the northern governors will not leave it out. Why? Because they are benefiting from it. They are using the ignorance of the poor, not educating the children properly for today's 21st century, making them ready for life as it is for today. They are keeping them informed as at 200 years ago, 100 years ago, and perhaps 50 years ago. But times, you could see the difference in times. They are not in today's world. They are actually 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago behind. And that's why they can grossly use them to achieve their purpose. Anyway, Okorocha has hit back at the northern governors as deliberations on how to abolish this system is on. Let's get to the news and get all the details. Okorocha hits at northern governors over Amajeris. Senator Richard Okorocha has stepped in defense of the Amajeris, insisting that northern governors have been unfair in their dealing with the children. Help to educate these children. Give them jobs. Who knows? One of them could be a president tomorrow. Stop using them. Okorocha spoke in an interview with the BBC Hausa service monitored by Vanguard on Tuesday. The governors and other rich individuals should help transform the Amajiri system of Islamic education. Instead of subjecting them to humiliation, many of our prominent people now were once Amajiris, the former Imo State governor has said. According to him, the Amajiri system is not the problem, but hunger, poverty, and deprivation, using of these children, of depriving them of fundamental human rights. The system has its origin from the migration of Prophet Muhammad. May peace and blessing be upon him. When he migrated from Mecca, some people followed him in search of knowledge and were known for this purpose. They were not left to hunger. They were fed. They were being thoroughly looked after. He reiterated that abandoned children needed care, while the system will be reformed and looked after. Some of us have excused that this don't happen in their channels towards enchanting the living standard of children and making sure that they get all the normal provision of a child. They have left them to gross mistreatment and misuse. He said, his Okorocha Foundation has established schools in Kano, Yobe, Zaria, Kaduna, and the sole aim of providing education for the Amajiri system. The northern governors had in recent times expressed displeasure over the Amajiri system and repatriated the children to their various states of origin for fear of COVID-19. It is beyond COVID-19. Do the needful. Look after them. You have used them. Well, my people, you have heard Okorocha, Rogers Okorocha, who has spoken wisely. I actually concur with what he has just said, because if you look at, go on the net and check children voting in northern part of Nigeria, you will see a whole host of children, young boys precisely, lining up. This system of Amajiri is where parents who could not look after their children send them for Islamic studies. Yes, they're just as young as 5 years old. No provision, no food, no clothes, no money. They just send them to some clergy to learn Islamic studies. These children leave home with no hope of when to come back. Now, there are a lot of them with the Islamic clergy. He, honestly and truly speaking, he cannot cater for all of them. There is no proper accommodation. There is no food. You have to fend for yourself. If you remember clearly, there was a woman who saw an Amajiri boy And guess what? I'm sorry to say, but the boy had sores all over his backside, all over his private area. It was that bad. Please Google it. You will see it for yourself. And this woman took the boy out of the street. Guess what? Nobody asked for him. Nobody looked for the boy. And she took the boy and started taking care of him, sent him to school. You know, recently I still saw a picture of the boy, you know, and they were saying transformation, you know, of the Amajari boy that was rescued by some women. You will see this boy, he looks so good. No more sores, no more, you know, that pain. The boy could not sit down. Guess what? They don't grow up with love. They don't grow up to be disciplined, to say, no, this is wrong, this is right. So do you really blame them? When they grow, they cannot empathize. They cannot sympathize. They don't understand what it means to say sorry. They see someone in pain, they don't get it because they've never been cared for or looked after in that regard. That is what we are talking about. So children are left, I mean, it's a terrible system in Nigeria. But guess what? The country that we are in takes everything religiously. Now, if you do something to the Christian, they will say, oh, it's the Muslims trying to do this. You do something to the Muslim, yes, it's the Christian trying to do this. And it results to a war, quarrel, confusion, and trouble, which ought not to be. There are basic things for human rights and life. We're not talking about your religion, whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Muslim, whatever religion you choose to follow. That's not the bone of contention. The bone of contention here is looking after a basic human being, a child. Caring and looking after this child is what we are talking about. Being concerned. But you know the wicked thing, because they're actually wicked, that's my term, that's my definition, and that's my opinion regarding them. Their children are well looked after. I'll give an example. This person is somebody who is actually speaking against this Mamajari system, and they hate him in the north for it. Talking about the dethroned Sanusi. When he had a baby girl, did you see how the news flaunted it? Congratulations messages were in order. People sending messages left, right, and center to say congratulations. That is what it means to have a child. That is what it means to have a child. People, you know, people are celebrating it. People appreciate, you know, it's a good thing. It brings about joy. It brings people together. It's a new life. Everybody's looking forward to it. You know, it was expectation, and the stakes are high. You know, it brings joy. It brings families together, except in a few cases. You see? So this is what we are talking about. When they have their children, prominent people, or they look after them. Remember when President Muhammadu Buhari's son had an accident? He left everything, ran to where his son used the bike to have the accident. Everything, every itinerary of that day was cancelled. Now, compare. These Amajari children are human beings, just like Buhari's son, just like Sanusi's daughter, I'm just trying to make an example here. Just make any illustration or example or match it together. That's exactly how they are. But these ones are grossly being neglected. Why? The North used them during the election period. Oh, they are tools. They line them up, give them, is it up to 1,500, maybe 1,000 naira if they do that. The children will be so happy. All I need to do is to thumbprint, right? Yes. And they go about and they do it ignorantly without even knowing that their right is being deprived. These people ride on the wings of these children's, you know, ignorance. Their children, of course, what do you expect? They don't even know what is being done to them. Some of them are abused along the way. Some of them, a lot of things, go through a lot of harm, like the little boy I was just explaining, that a woman found, and she found out this boy was in pain. He was hungry. He looked malnourished. He was dirty, has not had his bath for a long time. He looks so dark, not because he's a color-skinned black boy, but because he was coated with dirt. She took him, being a widow, being somebody who did not have her own children, and she took this boy. Come and see the boy after transformation, bathing, taking care of him, taking him to the hospital, looking after him. Fine, young, small boy. Sent him to a good private school. You will admire and you will want to have a child. This system has to be abolished. But will they agree? They rather use them. They rather ride upon their wings of their ignorance, still keeping them 50 years. Did you know when Muhammad went to Mecca, that journey that led to their Almajiri system? How many years ago? That is what they are still practicing in 2020. Wake up. Anyway, my people, now the news be this. What do you think? Don't forget to thumbs up for us, like and share, subscribe, click on the notification button so you can get all our latest news. God bless and bye for now.